two problems. The information is given in form of a graph or a bar chart for two different years, 1991 and 95. The solid colored bar chart is for 1991. The uncolored one is for 1995. This information is given as the adult education participation rates. So that means certain set of adults participate in adult education, and it is given here in this form. That means about 40% of the employed people participate in adult education. That's how you read this chart. Similarly, about 25% participate in of the unemployed people participate in adult education. Similarly, this chart or this bar chart also combines certain information who are not in the labor force. Actually, the employed and the unemployed people constitute the labor force. There are certain people who are not in labor force, that's also pictorially represented here. So let us try to understand the questions given here and interpret the data in the graph. So in 95 there are 100 million employed adults and 40 million not in labor force. Approximately, what was the ratio of the number of employed adults participating in adult education to the number of people not in labor force participating? So even though there are too many words, we just need to break it down and say that what we need is the ratio of employed and the not in labor force. So we need the ratio of these two adult populations who participate in the adult education. So how do we find out is, because we have got 100 million here and we see that in 95 only 50% participate in adult education, we can say that 50% of 100 million is the employed, and similarly in 95 we have 20% of not in labor force. So we say 20% of 40 million, because 40 million is the not in labor force population. So if we do this one, we get 50 million here and we get 8, because 0.2 into 40 is 8 million. So which means the ratio of the two populations who participate in adult education is 50:8. Now remember that we are asked to do these approximations only. So if I were to simplify this one, we get 25:4, which is actually 6:1, because 4 times 6 is 24, little over 6, but approximation leads to 6:1, and therefore the option number D is the correct answer. No other answer is correct, because even if we think this is 10:, nothing is close to 6:1. The remaining all are incorrect. So we are right here. So 6:1 is the ratio that we need for this problem. In the next question, for the same year in 1995, the unemployment rate was 8%, which means 8 out of 100 adults were unemployed. So now he asks what percentage of adults in the labor force participated in adult education. So he wants to find out the total number of people or the percentage of those adults, both in employed and unemployed, who participated in adult education. So how do we find out that is? So if we don't know the population here, but we can just assume that 100, if we take out of 100, 92% is 92 people in the employed category, 8 people in the unemployed. So let us write this as employed and this is unemployed. Now the participation rate for adult education comes from the graph, because we see that in 95 only 50% of the employed. So 50% we can do like this here. So let us do 50% here. So 50% of 92 will be 46. So that means 46 adults participate in adult education. Similarly, unemployed is 40%. So let us write 40% of 8 people will be how much? It will be 3.2. That means that out of the 92 people who are in the employed category, only 46 people participate in adult education. Similarly, 40% of the people in the unemployed 8 people, 3.2 people participate in adult education. So which means that we get the total number of adults will be 46 plus 3.2. So this is 49.2. That means out of 100 people or 100 adult people, 49.2 people participate in adult education. So this is actually, if we write it as a percentage, it will become 49.2%. But since we have to round it to the nearest percentage, so this will become 49%. So we need to be very careful that this is not 50, because when we round 49.2 it becomes 49, not 50. Anything about 0.5 and above rounds to the next highest integer number, which is 50. So the correct answer will be option C, not D. So we have to be very careful, because when we have two very close options, we are tempted to redo this problem and make sure that we are not done a mistake. So be sure to double check your work, because we don't want to lose score or any points in such easy problems. So 49.2 is 49%, and therefore option C is the correct answer.